I'm Eunkyung Hwang, a third-year doctoral candidate in art education and women's gender and sexuality studies at Penn State University. Before I start, I'd like to self-describe to those who are listening to this recording. I have ivory-colored skin, black eyes, and tied black hair. I'm wearing a navy-colored sweater, and I'm sitting on the arts cottage at Penn State. The title of my presentation is Crip Couture, Remapping the Narratives of Bodies with Disabilities. I will introduce an artist with disability, Chun-Shen Sandy Lee, and her work titled Crip Couture. Through this presentation, I will suggest adding her contribution to the Wikipedia page of disability art and possibly creating her Wikipedia page. Okay. Chun-Shen Sandy is a woman artist with a disability who was born and raised in Taiwan and has actively worked in the US. She has a PhD in disability studies from the University of Illinois at Chicago, an MFA from the University of California, Berkeley, and an MA in art therapy from the School of the Art Institute of Chicago, SAIC. As a disability artist researcher, she is currently an assistant professor in the Department of Art Therapy as well at the SAIC. So basically, sorry, I had to introduce her. So E was born with 2 fingers on each hand and 2 toes on each foot, as her family carries a genetic trait that can lead to being born with a variable number of fingers and toes. And in her writings, she testified that she had been constantly thought to be ashamed of her difference, as people pitifully or derogatorily stared at her disability. She expressed herself as rejected by Taiwanese culture, since she has been told that she should forget any future of love or success and needs to be fixed and cured by doctors and acquaintances. Resisting such cure ideology and stigmatization against people with disabilities, she actively chose to illuminate disability experiences as new knowledge and positioned people with disabilities as producers of such knowledge. Through her art making and her art therapy research, she aims to illuminate that kind of narratives and experiences. So with these goals, she focuses on creating various fiber works which pose social encounters that facilitate people to reflect on the compulsory logic of medical interventions towards bodies with disabilities or differences. For example, one of her wearable art projects titled Crip Couture is a collection of wearable artworks that delves into the impact of ethical and medical interventions on the bodies, especially bodies with disabilities. Instead of haute couture, so-called high fashion, E uses the word crip based on the crip theory. Crip is a reclaimed term referring to people with disabilities, used in order to resist the ableist ideologies that seek to cure or erase disability from contemporary society. As the disability culture version of haute couture, crip couture questions standardized bodily forms and functions using prosthetics and orthotics. Further, she newly illuminates the value of disability experience and knowledge by creating bodily adornments and collaborating with artists with people with disabilities. E's illumination of disability knowledge is well showcased in one of her works titled Refuse Skin Set as well. As E's self-portrait photograph, this work shows finger braces that force her 2 fingers into ideal positions with white plastic braces and black suture stitches. Based on E's own experience of medical intervention to her fingers, E questions the violence of medical treatment toward body normativity through scars and stitches in this work. The black stitches in this work function as a non-erasable and non-dissolvable result of medical intervention, while the circling of scars on her pelvis is a refusal of typical narratives of cure and disfigurement. She criticizes the ableist logic and the purpose of the medical intervention to people with disabilities, and further highlights the need for in-depth consideration about the meaning of being or appearing as normal in this ableist society. This work is not just a refusal of such logic, but also her reimagination of new ways of engagement with a new physical terrain beyond, quote, a correctional physical aid. Also, focusing on the disfigurement of her fingers, she criticizes the stereotype of Asian women as women with nimble hands who are greatly skilled in detailed hand-related works. For me, as an Asian feminist art education scholar who is studying about women's scar in the visual culture, her work particularly shows how the scars can be permanent marks of physical and psychological wounds, and simultaneously a site of potential movement towards disability justice brought about by the tenacity of Asian women. So, by mapping collective memories and the living experiences of people with disabilities through her bodily reconfiguration, she claims that people with disabilities are able to, quote, engage with beauty, fashion, and relationships with collective care without relying on the dominant culture of normacy. We can note that such collectivity from her work titled Embrace. In this work, she creates a hand brace with flower-shaped delicate embroidery and stitches, collaborating with disability artist philosopher Snora Taylor. E creates a soft cradle and offers hidden comfort for Taylor, inspired by her lived experiences under the medical forces to straighten her crooked hands. Likewise, E creates each bodily adornment toward the goal of disabled people's pleasure and comfort, rather than conforming to ableist beauty standards of body normativity that is prevalent in the current society and also capitalist orthodox market. Feminist disability studies scholar Alison Kiefer interprets E's work as a reimagination of a technology that can, quote, bind people together, creating space for loving disabled kin. He also envisions crip couture to be further a radical care work, which is non-hierarchical mutual support between individual disabled people and a form of shared culture making. Thus, we can consider her works as both a theory and practice that articulates the power of crip collective care, as he claims in her lines of research. In conclusion, crip couture raises awareness of collective disability experiences by highlighting wearable objects and the individuals who wear them. It also remaps narratives of people with disabilities by opening up her new possibilities for a genre of wearable art known as disability fashion and counter-narratives in such form. Such counter-narratives effectively challenge societal standards of beauty, able-bodiedness, and the body normativity that are deeply seated in U.S. society. Despite the enormous value of E's work, her artwork is not yet widely known to the general public, and information about her and her works is still not readily available in the Wikipedia. As you see, the current Wikipedia page of disability art limitedly shows several artists' names and their information. Also, it is hard to find textile or fashion artists in the section, and these artists are researchers on the page are mostly US-based white disability artists. Thus, we should add her name and the significance of her work, crip couture, to the Wikipedia page of disability art to diversify counter-narratives of disability artists. By adding A's name and her information to Wikipedia, we can illuminate the significance of collective disability experiences and their potential as subjugated knowledge and collective care. Thank you.
Put the link of disability art in there.
Oh yeah, I can send you the link of the disability art.
I already did.
Oh, great.
So with that,
Mhm.
all of those seem to be linked. Are they all linked on the notable artists to a page in Wikipedia, or are those other artists linked to their website or something?
Oh, actually the Wikipedia page, but as far as I know, we can just put her name without any link to her current page, and then after that we can later add her
Okay,
her page as well.